So good afternoon. My name is Chris Shaneyfelt. I am the District 6 Healthcare Coalition Training and Exercise Coordinator. And what we're going to discuss today is just-in-time training for the 700 and 800 megahertz radios. The District 6 Coalition uses 800 megahertz radios. And just as a brief disclaimer, I want to say that our radios at the Healthcare Coalition may not be programmed exactly like any other agencies. Agencies can have their radios programmed however they want. This is just how the radios are programmed that I'm demonstrating today. So just-in-time training, it's just going to be a brief low-level explanation of the 700 or 800 megahertz portable. We'll go over how to turn it on, how to understand the screen on the radio, learn some of the functions of the buttons, learn how to adjust volume levels, learn how to select zones, and then learn how to choose a channel within a zone. So what you have here is an overview of the radios. These radios here are P25. This is a Kenwood radio. The left side, you're looking at the front of the radio, and then on the right side, you're looking at the left side of the radio where the various buttons are at. This cell shows you on the left side the back of the radio where the belt clip is, and then on the right side of the radio where the shoulder mic port would be. The District 6 radios do not have shoulder mics, so they would have a plastic covering over this to protect the pins that are visible here in this picture. On the left-hand side, you're looking at a top-down view of the radio. The far left knob is the on and off knob. That knob also controls the radio's volume. The middle knob is a channel selection knob, and it turns left and right. The taller structure is the radio's antenna. The orange or reddish colored button is what's called a man down or an emergency button. This should not be programmed in the district radios. They are typically used for law enforcement and occasionally fire and EMS. And then the AB switch, that just turns on the radio's scanning abilities if it is programmed to scan. Over on the right hand side, it just shows you the bottom of the radio where there's a clip that can be toggled to release the battery. So looking at this radio again from the top down, I've already kind of described it with the previous pictures, so we won't go over this one again. So on a frontal view, this is what you're going to see if the radio is turned on. You see on the far upper left of the screen, there's a green bar that looks like a battery. That indicates that the radio has a full battery charge. Over on the upper right side of the screen, you'll see what looks like a telephone pole with the strength of the radio signal. So that's 4 bars. That means the radio signal strength indication is good. In the center, you're going to see what zone the radio's in. And then you'll see that it's in Randolph County's 68 EMA. Again, if we look at the battery indicator over on the upper left side, if it's fully green, it means the battery is highly charged. If it's towards the middle, there's a sufficient charge for the radio. Once you start seeing yellow, your battery's getting low, it's going to need to be charged soon. And if it's flashing red, it's very low, and your radio is about to die. So you need to get it on a charger or replace the battery. The upper right for the signal strength indicator, if you've got 3 or 4 bars, that means you have strong signal. If you have a couple bars, it's sufficient signal. If you have one bar, your signal's weak and your transmissions might start to sound garbled. If you just have what looks like the utility pole, you've got very weak signal, and it's highly unlikely that you're going to be getting out. And then if it's flashing a pinkish or red color, it means it's out of service range. So that means that there's no signal strength. You're not going to be able to transmit. And if you push the push to talk button, you're going to get a chirp or a tone indicating that something's not working properly. So looking at the buttons on the front of the portable, you have a single dot. What that single dot does is allows you to either lock the screen or unlock the screen when you depress it. Now, there are times when agencies will have the radio locked so that you cannot unlock the screen to change channels or zones or mess with any other settings. The two-dot button displays the user signal strength and the tower that it's going to be associated with. So if you depress that two-dot button, it'll bring up on the screen what signal strength it is, and depending on where you're at, what tower it's associated with. So with 800 megahertz radios, if it was in Randolph County, typically it would say it's associated with the Union City tower. But if the responder is somewhere close to a closer tower, such as the Dalton Tower in Wayne County, the Delaware County towers, or the Jade County Tower up in Red Key, it'll go to those if they're closer and associate with those. The curved arrow button or the return button is just that. It indicates that you depress that, it's going to take you to your last screen that was on the portable. The partial box that has the two lines, that is for programming the radio, so it's a menu button. You depress it and then you can toggle up and down on it. A lot of times it's best just to leave that alone. You have the multi-directional pad. It'll go up and down, left or right. Typically for our purposes though, we're just doing up and down, and that's when we're selecting zones to go to. The ABC buttons are buttons that can be programmed however an agency wishes. These buttons on this particular radio are unprogrammed. If you look at the left side of the portable, you'll see that there's a blue button, and that blue button changes the radio from day view to night view. Particularly helpful for those law enforcement officers. They don't want their radios on a day view when they're working night shift, so you can toggle it however you wish. The vertical long rectangle with the little nubs on it, that's your push to talk button. The one dot button below that push to talk button, you depress it and it's going to adjust the brightness on the radio menu screen. The two dot rectangular button, if you depress that, that's going to take you back to the primary channel of the talk zone that you're in. And then to ensure that you're using a P25 radio, this radio and all the Kenwood radios are labeled with P25 on it. The back view, if you're looking at the back, you can see that there's a clip on this. This is for clipping the radio to your belt, or if you're wearing a bandolier or some other device that you can attach your radio to. That's what they're typically used for. And then there's a battery back there. Again, the right side view is just for the shoulder mic, and typically it's covered. And again, the bottom view, this is a little more close up of the button that you would depress to release that battery from the portable itself. So what we'll do now is we'll look at some videos that we'll tell you how to turn on and off the radio.
So in this video, we'll demonstrate how to turn the radio on and understand what is being shown. So we turn the radio on using this button here. It's the on-off button. You'll see the radio do a self-test. Okay, this radio now shows you that it's in Randolph County 68 EMA zone, which is the zone that holds a variety of different talk channels. To change your talk channels, you just turn this larger knob at the top. It has 16 different channels you can select. Turn it left or right. It shows you what channel you're now, talk channel that you're going to be on.
So this now will teach you how to select a zone and again go over the channels.
This video will show you how to select different talk zones using this up and down button. Now we're moving through different zones. The Healthcare Coalition typically operates in what's called Hospital North. Once you're at Hospital North, you can see that the number one channel is on Hospital North, and from there you use your selector switch to move to different talk channels. So you've got Hospital TAC, Local Health Department Tactical, Medical North, so on and so forth. That is how you find different channels within different zones.
Allow me to say something real quick. If you hear snoring, that's not me. It's my very old dog that's laying on the floor in here in the office with us. He likes to sleep where I'm at. So we'll go with this next video. It's a day versus night mode with that blue button that we talked about.
To go change your menu color from day mode to night mode, you locate the blue button and you depress it. It changes you from day mode to night mode.
So now we'll change the brightness of the menu.
If you wish to change the brightness level of your menu screen, you press the number 1 dot button on the left side of the radio, and you'll see that the brightness changes.
And then we'll show you how to return to the home zone. If you're noticing a little bit of a curvature with the video, it's because my monitor is a curved monitor, so it kind of skews things a little bit.
And you need to get back to your main home zone. Have this button right here on the side, you push it, it takes you back home. And you need
Okay, so some rules for talking on radios. We want to keep the messages clear and concise. And what we mean by that is most of you that are using this for just-in-time training, you don't use radios every day. So just use plain language. There's no need to try to speak in 10 codes or signals or anything like that. You need to speak in short, direct sentences. You don't want to dilly-dally. You're not talking to mom or dad on the phone. Say what you need to say, get off the radio. We want you to think before you speak. We mean that we want you to have an idea of what you want to say or have a plan of what you're going to say before you key up on the mic. Knowing that will help you have a better transmission and avoid hesitation or confusion. However, I mean, it happens. There are hesitations and confusion at times, especially when you're not used to the radio. It's no big deal. Use proper radio procedures. Identify yourself when you're talking. So if you're going to talk to the Healthcare Coalition, typically you would say who you're calling and then who you are. So in this situation, it could be District 6 EOC 68600. I am calling the Healthcare Coalition's EOC. I am 68600. And then they would return the message by saying 68600 EOC or something similar. And you continue that way, having your conversation until you're done. Then wait for an acknowledgement from whoever you're calling before transmitting any information. They may be busy documenting other things. They may be slightly away from the radio and not able to focus on what you're trying to transmit right away. So wait for an acknowledgement before you just talk on the radio. Rules for communication. We want you to press the talk button, pause, and then you'll hear a chirp, and then you can speak. When you press the talk button, you need to wait for, like I said, the chirp. That chirp indicates that you're connected to a tower and that you are able to go ahead and speak. And then when you do this, you're not going to cut off your message. Speak clearly and at a reasonable or moderate pace, similar to what I'm talking now. Try to enunciate your words. There's no need for shouting or mumbling. And then when you talk with the radio, you want to have the radio about 2 inches from your mouth, or the microphone if you're using a shoulder mic or a land mobile radio. Acknowledge your messages, so when you receive your message and you're done, just indicate that you're clear. Copy received. Those can be used like prior military, we might do something like that, but just indicate, say EOC clear or 68600 clear, something along that lines. You want to limit your radio traffic. Again, you don't want to be on here talking like you're talking to a friend or a buddy on the phone. You want to keep your transmissions short and sweet, typically less than 30 seconds. If your emergency services, there's a tendency to use standardized codes. Most of the Healthcare Coalition members are not emergency services, so when in doubt, just use plain English. We all understand plain English, especially if we're in a mutual aid situation. Neighboring counties may not use the same codes, or if we're in a large mutual aid situation, we have responders from out of state or federal agencies involved, then just use plain English. And always try to maintain your professionalism. Remain calm as much as possible. Be courteous to whoever you're talking to. Do not use profanities or make snide personal remarks. The FCC has a lot of rules for radio communication, but you want to observe some radio discipline. You want to make sure before you push to talk button that you're listening to make sure that the channel is clear and you are able to go ahead and push your push to talk button. In large disaster scenes, a lot of times that's difficult because everybody's wanting to relay key information, but you have to wait to make sure the channel's clear. do not interrupt ongoing communications unless it's an emergency. That's pretty hard to do with the 700 and 800 megahertz radios, because if somebody's already established and talking on that channel, when you try to talk, you're going to get a chirp or a bonk. It is possible to do with the old analog radios like VHF, UHF. You can talk over somebody and then garble everybody's communications. So again, wait to make sure the channel's clear. And that's pretty much it. If you have any concerns, just understand if you're at the district healthcare level and we're going to issue radios, we'll make sure that you have an understanding of the radio when we pass it out to you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them when you're at any healthcare coalition meeting, or you can email myself at ccshaneyfelt@indianadistrict6.org. Thank you.